That was, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, finally. Good evening. Thanks for the invitation to RACES to do this presentation. Hopefully it's going to be of information. First, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Martinez. I am a mining engineer, but I have a couple of degrees from UQ, 2 masters in mine planning and geostatistics applied to mine planning, and a doctorate in economics and finance, but all that applied to mining. So, as you can realize, what my topic will be here is more based from the mine perspective. But I'm very thankful for this invitation because this is a little white paper I wrote about, so can we predict the future or it is arbitrary and random? If so, why do brave decision makers keep forecasting with average value? So what I'm trying to do here is I will set up myself for a project. We will evaluate good value project today. That project could be a oil project, engineering project. In my special case, focusing to mining project. Yes, sometimes my Spanish accent making me speak so fast, so sometimes you don't understand, please feel free to let me know. And especially if I am getting bored with the questions, let me know as well. We can change the topic, okay? I expect that we will do this in 2 pieces. The first piece will be the theory, or well, not theory, it's the explaining part. And the second part, I would like to introduce you with a new little engine that basically will apply what we will tell in the first part. It's a new technology, but please bear with me. This is talking about a bit of a kind of a scary topic, risk analysis, uncertainty that everyone, even myself, doesn't like much that. But you'll see that it's not too difficult if we understand. And the point is it random? Can we do something? How do we forecast? Can we forecast? So all these questions we try to discuss in this presentation. So this is the way that we visualize a project. So we are standing up here today. We could stand here as well, but in our case we are here where we have already passed all this pre-feasibility desktop area, and we are looking at the future. So we are basically in the feasibility study stage, but that doesn't avoid us that we could go farther back and start analyzing all this, which is another topic. And I guess most of the engineers here are more involved with the structural construction desktop, but it's more or less the same philosophy. So if we are here, we have some value for our capex, for our project. So we are looking in the future, and we need to put a value today to that project, a mining project. First, we need to find out. Let me see if this is working. Is it working? Let me see. This. No, that's not going to work. Okay, let's go there. A couple of initial statements. Every time I present, I always mention this because there's a lot of questions after. No one can predict the future with 100% certainty. That is the beginning. So our intention in this presentation on these topics, when we do this with projects, is not to forecast a value with 100% certainty, is to see what we can do in the future if something good happen, which for us is potential, or something bad happen that for us is risk. Together is uncertainty. And here when we say random, it's not because we are seeing that or telling that the process by nature itself is a random process. We can deal with that in physics theory about that, but it's because we do not know. For us, uncertainty comes because we do not have data. We don't have data for the future, because we are looking at the future and we do not have data. All the data that we have is what we got through the project previously, and what we have at that moment. That is our data, and that is what we have at hand, and that is what we need to put a value to our project. The way that we normally do or evaluate or put a value to a project is by using traditional techniques based on NPV, net present value, which is based on the cash flow analysis and the discounted cash flow that uses start analyzing the cash flows every year of the project and uses a discount rate as a parameter to basically punish your cash for risk, accounting for risk. I call this little guy here the Samsung of the project because sometimes it's a little bit misunderstood. You know, we are normally dealing with a project and say, okay, look, use your discount rate at 10%. Okay, we will use 10%, but the question is, what does this 10% mean? You know, where this 10% is made of? There is a risk-free, just accounting for time and value of money. There is a premium risk. How much is that? And what type of uncertainty is considering here? Sometimes there is a little bit of confusion there. You know, in computer economics, the premium is more linked to the market. When we do engineering, we try to put some extra premium on top, just to account for operational and technical risk. That in the market, in economic, you know, you have the diversifiable risk. It's not accounted, just the private risk. Or the market risk is the one that you account for the shareholder. But again, that's where we do our techniques. And to me, the cash flow is kind of a technique that you see it punishes your cash flow over time. So when you have a project, for example, for 20, 30, 40 years, your cash flow in year 20 will be so little today because it's going to be divided by 1 plus r to the power of 20. So that is why sometimes many managers do not see too much in the future. They tend to see the first 5 to 10 years, but doesn't mean that after 10 years there is no value. There is plenty of value, actually. But, and the cash flow also have a limitation is it just accounts for risk in case something goes wrong. You know, it's punishing the cash flow. But does not account for whatever is above, which we call the potential. So to me, it's kind of the old tradition is my number rule is hope for the best, plan for the worst, which is true. But we should add here a little bit saying, okay, but also we need to see if something good happened. If something good happened, it can be even better for us. Unfortunately, in mining especially, I am a mining engineer by studies. I come from a mining tradition family. My father and my brothers are miners. Actually, in my country of origin, Peru, we are mining contractors as well, so we deal with a lot of costs in underground mining. But we are not used to do risk analysis for many reasons. We prefer to just keep it as it is and try to not touch too much our cost over value because that is our project feasibility, our manager has accepted. That is all our budget that we have, so let's not touch it. If it is better, it's more better. But if something wrong, let's not go into it. It's a bit scary. But the thing is that could be sometimes a bit of limited because that's not allow us to prepare. We do not know. We don't want to know what wrong will happen. But if we don't know, how can we prepare? Most of the time, as we contracting do, and we are trying to change now, is we try to react in the moment. You know, something's happening and you're there and you're trying to clean up as best as you can, to fix the problem as best as you can, and there you go. Which is good, you keep going. But if you plan it before, and you took some strategies that the risk for that to happen, you could minimize your losses. We will never know unless we do the planning. So what we are trying to do is trying to explain that this is good, but we should complement with further analysis. Another reason for not using or do a risk analysis properly in a project evaluation is because risk implies changing our counting system. Now we are dealing with distributions. In average, we deal with numbers. And we need to understand that dealing with distributions or numbers are different. And averages also are not reality. Could be a very good indicator, good estimate of future, but they are not reality. Remember, averages is the middle one. Means it will minimize high values and it will maximize low values. It's the middle one. So we need to take care when we have dealing with averages, and there are very, very few actually, people who trying to go towards risk management using distributions. Let's see what type of problems could be there. It's because sometimes we do not understand the problems there. What we do normally is this. When we are faced with an uncertain variable, okay, what we normally do is we averages. We have an average value, and we use that value in our process. Could be a cost modeling, could be a processing, mining, could be any process. And we believe that because the entrant is an averages, whatever comes in the other side is also an average. And that's the problem. Sometimes this is not a linear project or process, so that may not be true. What we normally do is we use the whole distribution, we input everything there, we take the values of the other side, and we then averages here, and you will see that this average is different than that. This is more realistic to do your decisions than that, but this is also what we call our base case. You have to have a base case when you're dealing with risk. Otherwise, we don't know how to measure risk or opportunity. We have to have a floor, and that is our base case. What we need to do is go a little bit farther. Very quick, this slide just showed that, We always assume that our project is linear, so expectations will show as expectation. But our process will be concave or convex, and you will see that that is not the case. It depends of our process, okay? So that's what we call the flow of averages in mine project evaluation. I mean, actually, this was told by Professor Sam Savage from Stanford. They call it the flow of averages. There is a book. It's a very nice book. I recommend for you to read. But it's like this guy. He tried to cross the rivers and reads on average 3 feet depth. He crosses and goes into one big hole, and dies. Well, that's because on average, yes, it's 3 depth, but that doesn't tell us that there are humongous holes there, and we need to take care of that. And the only way to take care of that is having a perception of something could be there, so we can be ready for that. So in mining, when we do the evaluation of a project, it's kind of, with averages, it's kind of playing with that. It's kind of telling, look, prices, grades, costs, environmental factor, recovery factor, social factors, all of them on averages will happen at the same time every year for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Because that is what you do your planning, for any project actually. I would ask, what would be the probability that all of them happen together every year? So the answer is, I don't know, but for sure, it's less than 100%. That will not happen every year exactly as we are estimating. So we know there is uncertainty. We need to know how to manage that. And this current downturn is showing us that sometimes that is a bit dangerous. We have to look a little bit farther. We have to do a little bit of analysis of risk and potential. One traditional technique for doing that is the Monte Carlo simulation. And an easy way to explain Monte Carlo simulation is with this chart. When you are painting your wall, a tall wall, you always bring your ladder and you put it there, and you never go and climb quickly. What is the first thing you do? Normally, everyone does is just grab it and start shaking it. Until they realize that it's stable enough, then you climb up. Well, that shaking part is Monte Carlo. Your system is your ladder and your wall. So you're bombarding your system with some shocks, trying to see where your ladder is stable, and then you go. Well, Monte Carlo is that. You bombard your process with different shocks, from different variables, from different parameters, see how does it react, and analyze if it's stable or not enough to go ahead. There are many other industries that apply that, and they take this very seriously. For example, aviation. I'm not an expert in aviation. I never put a slide I cannot defend 100%, but I was speaking with a guy from Airline Land Chile, for example, about this, and they provided me this, and they told me, look, in aviation, the risk analysis is very rigorous. They have to do it because they have to avoid that. And that is when you put people there. So they can know release an airplane without doing a risk analysis, a very thorough risk analysis in the air, in the plane, from every single viewpoint, because they will put people there, and that is almost nothing. They have to minimize that. Well, let's do the same. In mining, we also deal with people, you know, the geotechnical guys in undergrounds, there's people going there, contractors going there, safety is there, but okay, there are many rules about safety, but we need to also take care about the infrastructure. We need to shape your mind with all these parameters from geotechnical, but not just geotechnical, but infrastructure uncertainty, economic financial uncertainty, geological and geomechanical uncertainty, and all the variables that you believe is necessary in your project. So, let's shape it, and let's see if the mine design and plan is stable. And of course, if it is stable enough, we go ahead. The objective of doing this is to identify, through the life of the project, areas where are highly risky. So we need to take care about those areas, and also the areas that they are have very good potential. Because potential for us is good. We have to embrace it, we have to grab it. It will improve our value today. But for that, we need to do an analysis. And that analysis is a little bit involved, because in mining you have different variables. Besides that, you have the resource, you have the designs in a mine, you know, that is not easy to change. A mine design is not easy to change from one month to another month. Expansion or contractions are not done in a year. It takes longer, but we need to see that. So what we do is, we have our mining, we have our schedule, and we have our data, so we start putting some risk, and here we quantify the risk. If we have data, we model a proper distribution. If we don't have data, what we do is sometimes we mix subjective analysis from experience with other data that is being used somewhere else. And there is always resources that we can use for modeling this. Always is better than doing just one value. That's the point. So this is a general framework where we have, for example, here, we have as an input data, we have the resource model, and the resource model for us is called the block model. The block model is imagine just you have the surface, and below there is drill holes, that there are grades underground. So we put that into blocks, and we put a grade into blocks. We estimate that block, we interpolate and put a value in every block, so we have an idea of how much metal is underground, so we can start planning and designing the mine. So that's our resource. Then we have our schedule. Our schedule is once you can pass all that through a mine planning engine, it has already designed the mine, has tell you these blocks will go out in year 1, this was in year 2, this is year 3, and blah, blah, and you have the cash flow for each of them. And also, of course, you will have economics, which is the summary of that. Well, once we have that, we can start doing or applying the framework I mentioned to you. And the framework is, okay, this is what we do initially. The base case is we have a drill holes there, we model, we interpret. Notice that the drill holes are not every meter, they are space, but we interpolate in every single point around for the colors and create a block model. We pass it through an engine. Here you can see the block model and the engine create the ultimate bit, and eventually ended up with the schedule. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, year 7. Okay, that's the schedule. And this schedule, of course, every year will throw us key indicators like this. Cash flow, production, metal production, recoveries. And one of those indicators is the average annual grade of, in this case, it's a copper mine. So what I'm showing you here is the average grade of copper producing every year through the life of mine. All that, as you can see, just one line, and sometimes we are used to put an interval of confidence into plus minus 10%. And with that, we calculate one NPV, or net present value of the project today. Just one. So is this take it or leave it? If it is negative, okay, no. If it's good, there are other indicators like the internal rate of return and cash flow. But basically, we ended up with this. The question is, let's start shaking our project with shocks of simulations of the deposit. So what I am showing you here is I have the same deposit. And because I know that the estimation is on average, what I do is I simulate. Not one, but many times. Okay? I ended up with N simulations of my deposit. Those are my shocks. Then I grab those ones and I start bombarding my schedule and I start measuring what is coming on the other side. In this case, you can see the black line is again the average grade that we got as base case. But look now we have a kind of a band, we call it the band of uncertainty here. The effect for the shocks of the simulations in your schedule. Why do we do that? Is because here now it's just not one value, now we have a range of value there. Every year we have a distribution. And you can measure the risk or the potential to go above or below your average grade. So now our NPV will be a distribution rather than just one value. Here we can have any statistics, averages, median, mode, any statistics you want to consider in your analysis. And also you have the background as well. The whole project is your support. Sometimes we have to explain the charts in a different way because talking with risk and uncertainty is a bit sometimes difficult to understand. So charts are very useful. In this case, I am showing you just the deviations around the base case average grades, in grades. And as you can see, it's not plus minus 10%. It's always varying. One of the variables that is not controllable and has the most effect in any project are prices. Now when you intend to forecast prices, you can try to forecast prices. There are many techniques to forecast prices. This is a survey we did where the majority chooses consensus estimates, but some of them use still forward when they deal with the market, and some of them very little the spot and other techniques. Well, we do not discuss the technique. There is not actually someone who tells you that is the best technique, but there are models for different methods. But in our case, for example, once we know that, we can then model the price, because we have historical data here for whatever method we are doing, and we use a model, and we forecast again the future. But again, we do not forecast one value, we forecast many values. The same than the grades, we forecast many. And we grab those ones and start bombarding your schedule again. And you see what is in the other side, the results, and you see that the MTV have a different distribution. So, and here we measure the risk to go above or below our original base case. That's the importance of the base case. Give us the limit to measure the risk to go below or the potential to go above. And if there is a lot of potential there, well, then you can identify where there is more risk or more potential in your schedule, which year, and go back to your design and try to see if you can do something better. The same we do for cost. And for you guys and for us in a contracting company, cost is vital. Every time we present a contract for a company, for us, is our cost. We have to optimize our cost. Equipment, payments, logistics, especially logistics. We have to be very thorough with our cost. And we have to forecast sometimes our costs and try to see what is the best that we can do, where can we improve, what are the risks in the future, what could happen. But we do the same, we do the analysis, we do our Pareto analysis, and we, again, bombard our project and see what is coming in the other side. So, as you can see, I am using the Monte Carlo technique but adapted to a mine project evaluation. I'm just grabbing everything, quantifying uncertainty, and bombarding our schedule. Of course, there is a lot of process involved into that. But that's the idea, is just put your uncertainty in your project. There is one difference that what we normally do with crystal ball of at risk. This is what we call uncertainty analysis, risk analysis in the project and not on the project. Normally when we use crystal ball of that risk, we do it at the end. And we assume a distribution for a variable in a period and just run it. But what we do here is we do it behind. So the project output the final distribution. All right, once we have the risk assessment, we quantify the risk assessment, the next question is, okay, what can we do? We know there are risky areas and potential areas. How can we plan for that? Like this guy, I mean, you see this real estate selling this house in a beautiful valley with a gorgeous river next to, with a little boat at the top. is because in case it gets flooded, you have plan B to escape. You are minimizing your risk or dying. Maybe not the best, but that's what we need to do. But we know there is a river, we know there will be a flooding, so we can apply something. That's the idea. If we know a perception of what will happen in the future, we can prepare for that. Now, there are many ways of preparing. Very cheap and very expensive. The objective of the analysis is to look for the appropriate one. Cheap and effective. That is not simple, because our objective is having a base case. We have to put as many strategies in our plan that can improve the value. The resulting value, we call it the expanded NPV. This is your base case value plus whatever value you have added into your project. That is the objective, improving the value today. But sometimes that's not enough. It's not easy to do. And we need to go and use specialized techniques, optimization techniques. Experience plays a key part into this. Every engineer with experience is key part in deciding what type of strategies you can implement in your project. But sometimes our eyes can lie to us. So we need to be held by optimization techniques. Like, for example, here I am showing you, this is a life of mine from year 1, 2, 3 at the end. Every line connection is a path that you can follow for scheduling. And these are the values that you can get if you follow, for example, path AC, you get 4 million billions of dollars, and so on. Question is, what is the best path to go from the beginning until the end? Well, maximizing value. Well, if we do it normally, okay, we will go with what we call the greedy technique, is that, okay, well, let's maximize value. From A to B, or A to D, or A to C, 4 is maximum, so let's go AC 4. We are maximizing value. From C to the other points, the maximum value is C to G is 4. And from G, 3, and J, 4, so we have 4, 4, 3, 4. Discounted, today, the project is $11.9 million billion. So, we believe that because we have maximized our value at each step, the result is also maximum. And that's what we normally do. For example, in the past we used to do with our contract in Peru. We are contractors. We solve the problem day by day. We try to do the best. We try to minimize costs day by day, but we didn't see the whole picture. We just looking at that and wishing that we are minimizing our costs and maximizing our value. So, if we do this with an optimization technique, for example, dynamic programming, we will see that the results is different. We go to the end, and we start doing the same but maximizing. We will see the maximum is J, I, 4, to E, 4, to E, 7, and to A, 2. Look, first year was not the maximum, was actually the minimum. Okay? But if we do 2, 7, 4, 4, in general, today is $13.3 million, compared with the $1.11 million. So, sometimes our eyes doesn't allow us to see the whole picture, and sometimes in projects you have to watch from the whole picture. And optimization techniques helps a lot doing this. But as again I mentioned, experience plays an important role here. Why? Because an experienced guy will tell me, but what will happen if this instead of 4 is 10? If that is 10 and we follow our greedy position, we will end up with 17.4. Of course. So I am not telling, please use always optimization and be blind of that. Your process is your project, and you have to analyze your project forward and backwards. The objective is to maximize the value, of course. So we should combine experience, optimization techniques, and your models. Whatever model you are using, try to be the best that represents your project. So what I want to introduce you now is a technique, because we can do. It's very simple to watch the previous analysis when they are all their numbers. But now imagine that every value actually is a distribution. So it turns a little bit more complex. So there are techniques that can help us to do the process. And one of these techniques is a real option analysis. And real option analysis just comes from the financial option technique. Okay? I don't know you play in the market or not, but you can go to the market today and buy gold, for example, for a price and pay the price today. Or you can buy the option to buy that gold for a price. But you need to pay for that. It's a right, you know? It's not for free. You pay a little option for that for a price at the end of the year. So if at the end of the year the price is good for you, good. Exercise your contract. If not, you say, no, I will not buy that because I will lose. The only thing that you lose is the payment for that option. Makes sense. So you're protecting today for tomorrow. It costs you a little bit. Well, it's more or less the same. In real options, we do the same. In a mining or in a contracting company, you compromise with something at the end of the period, at the end of the year, and your production has to be N tons. Your costs have to be that. So you expect that. So the question is, how much are you able to pay today, opportunity cost, to protect, to achieve that target? Tomorrow, next year, and that is the objective of real options. To do that, we need to follow some steps. A simple steps in this case is you always start, as we were looking for, your base case. Your base case is your floor. You have to have your floor, otherwise you cannot measure if you are going well or not. Then you need to identify your uncertainties. What we did, the risk analysis. We assess and we quantify your uncertainty. Then you combine this uncertainty. Something that we didn't mention is when you do with uncertainties, if they don't have interaction at all, it's good, independent. But sometimes they are linked, and you need to consider them as linked, rather than independently. Just imagine two little drunk guys coming out from the pub, okay? And they live in the same neighborhood, they go in the same direction, and when they are walking in this way. So they make two paths, okay? But if they are not friends or nothing, these paths are independent. So you can manage each of them in different cases. What if these two guys are friends? So they come, hugging each other as traditional drinker guys, my mate comes here. And when they start walking, one pull the other one, the other one pull the other one. So they go bouncing from one side to another one to those paths. So those are linked paths. So you need to consider those ones when you're doing risk analysis. Once you got the risk analysis, then you bring experience, you bring knowledge. Okay, we know that something wrong could happen if that, or something good happen if something in the future. What can we do to minimize that risk, and how much it's going to cost? Or what can we do if the good things happens to take advantage of that, and how much it's going to cost? So you identify what we call options, strategic, operational, or managerial options. And then you combine it, and you do the analysis, what I will show you right now. The objective function, the final NPV, what we call the expanded NPV, will be your original value plus whatever value you have brought out from the strategies and following the framework. So that is basically the philosophy of real option. It's telling you, prepare for the future, but pay a little bit today, but still maximize value. So to understand this a little bit better, let me put you a little example for a mine operation. This is actually a real example that I was facing in South America. It's a small mine that these guys want to buy. They need to pay $48 million front. We call it CAPEX. It's a brownfield already. And they have a production cost of $7.4 per ounce of silver. It's a silver mine. Actually, it has lead, but they consider just the silver as the main metal. For EC, they said there is no variable extraction cost. They have a life of mine of 5 years, and they gave me the production year by year. As you can see, there is a ramp up until they plug in the mine. Their company uses the 10% discounted rate that we will use for cash flow purposes. Something interesting they mentioned to me is that they have an option with the government or the owner saying that they can either start the project today or they can start next year. But to start next year, it will cost them $1 million. They need to pay to the owners $1 million to have the right to start next year. Okay? So, either today or next year, and they said when they will close, they have estimated that it will be break-even, so whatever cost they spend for selling all the assets will be zero, which is not a realistic one, but they assume that for this exercise. They asked me the following questions. of course, they told me, first question, is this a good investment? Of course, everyone has to ask, it is worth to go further ahead with the project or not? Then they said, should we invest this year or next year? Considering that we have to pay 1 million next year. Okay? Then they said, is there a way that we could minimize the capex and that will have the influence between starting this year or next year? Okay? So, maybe they could reduce the capex. And will that influence in starting this year or not? So that was the question. What about if silver prices are different today? What about the internal rate of return? As you know, the internal rate of return is a decision-making limit for going ahead or not in a project, compared with your discounted rate. Well, all these questions are normal questions that you are being asked when you are doing a project evaluation. Though here you see we are putting options to do it this year or next year, and internal rate of return and all that. So let's solve the problem, but just considering that in this case they told me that the silver price is the only uncertainty, and the original or initial price that they were considering is the $16 per ounce of silver. Okay, and of course we put a model for the price, the geometric Brownian motion, that is a common model used in finance for precious metals. So gold, silver, platinum, followed by GBM because it's more uncertain. It goes, the cone of uncertainty, someone calls it, increases on time. For base metals like copper, lead, zinc, we use what is mean reversion, means that it grows and tries to go back to a long-term stable price. Of course, that long-term could jump as well, but it's not as big in uncertainty over time than the GBM, like gold. Gold prices can change drastically, copper price not that drastically, means the model. But again, someone could argue that there are other better models. Well, having this in mind, what we do first is doing our base case. Our simple cash flow, we have the silver price, we start in year 0 or we start in year 1. We do the 2 scenarios. Normally we do scenarios, 2 scenarios. This year or next year. Our production cost, we ended up with a NPV. If we start this year with all the data, we get $8.49 billion. If we start next year, paying the $1 million is $6.81 billion. It's less. So decision start this year because even your IRR is internal rate of return is 15% greater than next year. Of course, because cash flow, if you start further in the future, it's going to be more penalized by the discounting. So it's going to have less value than starting today. So that was kind of expected. And on top of that, you need to pay $1 million for waiting. So it's also going to be less. But that is our base case. That's what we call, if we just stop here, the decision is to start this year with this value. Go ahead. But as you can see, these other questions about IRR, improvement, or CapEx variability, you can start managing here, but if we do real options, we do the same process. We calculate cash flow the same that we do normally, just that here we take the uncertain variable outside. In this case, the uncertainty was in the silver prices. So, let's keep our average silver price at $16 as we did originally in the base case. We normally do this because companies get much better saying, okay, here is our average. We are not going anywhere. Actually, the model tells there is a trend, but we can do this just to compare things in the same level. Okay, our average is still 16, but look now. Now in year 1, prices could go up to 21 or down to 12. And from there up or down or up or down, and you can go all until the end, and you will end up in year 6 that the prices of silver could be $83.4 per ounce or $3.1 per ounce. Now, someone questioned this and said, Luis, that's not true, silver 83.4 maybe, but kind of you consider this is too high price, of course. Say, yeah, but remember all this is uncertain, and when you can see the little numbers there, those are the probability that could happen. And the probability that could happen there is 0.001. So very little. However, it's more probable that the prices in year 6 goes to 27, actually to $9. So
when you deal with risk analysis over time, you have to consider probabilities. Those are the weights that we put to these values. Otherwise, a value of that will tell you, will give you a humongous scientific. But on average, we still around $16. Okay, if we have the prices now quantified, let's calculate cash flow. So we calculate the cash flow for each year, for each price, and you will end up with a value today with probabilities, and here is your average value. And the average value is the same that you have in your cash flow, because it's on average, $16. And look the information that we have now. We know that if prices goes below this level, you can end up in year 3 with negative cash flow. In year 4, negative, year 5, negative. If you use the average, you will never see those negatives. Okay? We will end up with negative cash flow actually. But also, it may happen that we will have big values here. That's the potential that also the average does not allow you to see. If we discount it back, discounting to today minus capex, you got exactly what you got in your base case originally. Remember the 49, you go back to the A49. So, what we are doing here is nothing else but adding information on your traditional cash flow. Now you know that you may have these negative cash flows in these years if price goes below a level. Okay? Now we know. Question is, what can we do? Well, if you remember here, we got the option that they told me that if we close the mine, it's going to be break even because we sell everything and we pay everything, so it's almost zero. So assuming that, we start doing real option analysis and optimizing, say, okay, here is better to close and get zero than produce and get negative. That makes sense, isn't it? On average here, maybe the average is around here because it's negatives. If I close it and I get zero, my average is going to be popping up a little bit. So I am optimizing. I don't know what will happen, but I am saying if that's happening in these levels, I will close. Because it's better to get zero than negative. And I can go backward discounting, and I do the same thing here. Here, for example, it's telling me it's better close as well. And if you close here, it means the future is closed. You just close there, no? But here, no, because next year you could go there or close. And here, remember, there was a negative value as well? It doesn't tell you close, because you could close, but also could go up. So this analysis is considering all these options, bringing back to today, minus capex, this is what you get, $9.68 billion, just to be ready to do this. If something, compared with the 8.49, we have an extra $1.19 million there at just for planning what we could do if something goes wrong. Now, if nothing goes wrong, good, we will have our expectations. Does it make sense? Now, so we are saying, yes, it's a good business if you do this, if you will get 1.19 better. But now let's answer the other question of how to analyze if we better invest today or next year. You know, we are not next year. We do not have data next year. Well, what we do is we follow what we have. So next year, we are here, remember? But next year the prices could go as we saw before. Before showing this, I want to show you. We do the same analysis, but now, next year, prices could go up to this or down to 12. And we consider both of them. We do the analysis, we repeat the same analysis starting next year, or with high prices and low prices. We need to be fair. We need to do the both analysis. So, doing that both analysis, we go first, if we go up, prices up, we go the analysis and we ended up with a value of 41. If we go down, do the analysis and we ended up with a value of 0, saying do not start, because if prices goes down, do not start next year. It's probably will get better. It's more probably will get negative. So better not to start. So Next year, if price goes up, start, or price goes down, don't start, but we are next year. We want today, so we bring those two values today. So if we bring those two values today, multiply by the probabilities of occurrence, of course, we ended up that today we have 16.26 if we start next year, with an extra value 7.7 million billions on top of the base case. So the strategy is this. Start next year if price goes up. If price goes down, do not start. As someone can tell you, yeah, but I don't start the money, so I could better start today. Start the money, yeah, but if price goes down, you will have a big, big, big loss. So, and you will get better value even starting a year, even paying the extra $1 million, because here is minus $1 million for delaying the project. And look, now, starting this year is better than cash flow. Cash flow is telling you, no, don't start because you pay more, it's more discounted, it's less value. Real option is telling you, look, you follow this strategy, paying the 1 million, you still get better value today, but now you have a strategy. Start next year, if price goes up, and in that year you can do further analysis if you want. You have extra 7.5 millions to spend in that year, collecting more information. Because you have extra 7.5 million, isn't it? So that is the value it's telling you, okay, wait, I pay 1, I have 6. So what else can we get to get more information? More drills, cost. As long as we don't pass this limit, we are still good. Otherwise, if we do cash flow, we will never know that we have actually that on top that we could spend. So this is just a simple part of the analysis, but the results is also, you can quantify in charts. As I mentioned to you, when you deal with uncertainty, you produce charts. So you start doing this for many options. For example, the option I'm telling you here is about, I cannot read well there, but it's that's the capex, isn't it? Yeah. This is the capex. The black line is the base case for different capex, okay? And the blue line is the strategy to invest next year for different capex, okay? Remember that our capex was $48 million, so it's here. If we go up, starting next year give you better value than if you start this year. But the question was, if we reduce our capex, will that be a point that wouldn't matter if we start this year or next year? Well, you go back down and actually you reduce your capex to 35 million. So from 48 to 35.2 million, you go to an inflection point that you can start now with current conditions. With current conditions, yes, capex is your driver. That will be your cutoff capex. Less than that, you better start now because give you better value than next year. Bigger values than that next year. So it's basically type of, someone told me, kind of a sensitivity analysis, yes, but based on a process. The other question was about the price of the silver. So different prices, initial prices, again, the traditional NPV, and if your rate of point is positive, and we were in $16, so 16, the real options give you better value, so start next year. But if the price of the silver were around 18.4, you will start this year, and after that, better this year, because it's not probably it will go down, actually you will keep in a better situation. So it makes sense because higher prices to go down radically is not likely. It may happen. Remember, we are dealing with probabilities. But it's the same that we do just one price, the probability is the same. It will happen, will happen. But here it's telling you, the prices were like that, you better start now. Bigger than that, now. No next year. So this type of analysis is that you can get as result from your process. And the same, it's happened with internal rate of return. You know, the internal rate of return is where it makes 0. That's the IRR, was our traditional case, gave us 15%, compared with 10% that we're using is just 5% extra, which is not giving you too much security to go ahead. Sometimes companies want a 10 to 15% premium on top to make the decision to go ahead. But if we follow the investment for next year, actually you are at 20 to 30. Makes sense because next year is telling you just if prices goes up, invest. If not, do not invest. So yes, your return is higher. And you can show this with your process. We are not doing nothing else but just putting options and analyzing the options within your cash flow. This is still the traditional way to calculate internal rate of return, just different strategies. Just different strategies. And we can talk about real options for many, many applications. One of those big applications is the chain of design. But again, it depends of the project. In a mining, changing the design is not as easy as implementing next year. It takes 2, 3, or 4 years just for an expansion. So you need to start doing this, and you will start calculating which design is the best. And actually, there are studies that say that your design will change over time. How to consider that in cash flow is not possible. You need to do different scenarios. Real options, you can start changing year 1, year 2, year 3, depending on whatever strategy you are implementing. All right. I guess with this one, it's a bit tight, I know. Hopefully, I have tried to put a little bit of information you about these techniques. It sounds a little bit theoretical, I know. I've been teaching this for a while, trying to implement in companies for a while, and some of the limitations for not being implemented is a lack of a tool. And when there is not a proper tool, it's very difficult to implement it. Okay? And also to understand, when you have something that you can actually put hands on, bring your data, and see the results, it's better accepted that when it's just showing the schemes. And we were aware of that some time ago. So I guess in the second part, we can have a little break here for a coffee, is that okay, Larry? And in the second part, what I want to show you something, what I call it cool. It's a little engine that is still in developing. It's a new innovative technology that is doing part of what I show you. It's going towards that. As you could see, what we showed you before can be done, but it takes a long time to preparing data, to put the frameworks, everything. So the idea of the tool is trying to minimize that implementation. But if you bear with me for the second part, I will be happy to show you a little bit of that. And if you have questions, please, there are 3 Yodas or Jedis things. Feel free. I'm happy always to answer, to discuss. Again, I can put this from the mining evaluation viewpoint, for the contracting viewpoint, focusing on costs. For environmental guys, they focus on the environmental factors. There are so many things that can be implemented, but we need to have a proper model. Without a model, we cannot go ahead. And the model has to be the best. Nothing is perfect, you know. Models are just that, models. But our model that we know, if we make it to represent our process, is going to be of a lot of information for us. You have questions? There you go.
Would you mind going back to the slide you showed, one of them, the geometric, the dynamic discounted cash flow diagram. So any one of those, for example.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that the geometric Brownian motion model is often used for pricing forecasts of precious metals.
Yes.
Is that model something that you would have drawn on to determine those probabilities?
Yes.
Of the price going up or the price going down?
Yes. It is the model who gives you this probability. Many people ask me, it's a good question actually, because they tell me where I have seen, you can do 3 analyses, up, down, that's a scenario. But here, I always show these models with the probabilities, and those are given by the model. So the GVM throw you these values, but also the probabilities. If you use another model, make sure that you got these probabilities, because remember, this is a forecasting, we have to have some probabilities. And the other thing, remember that the sum of probabilities always is 1. So that is a way, thank you for the question actually, I will clarify this. This is a way to verify that your model is good. For example, this plus that is 1. This plus this plus this is 1. So every year, the probabilities always sum 1, means that they are a probability distribution. And that is important because something I forgot to mention is when you deal with risk, we are talking about ethics. Because risk is very difficult to tell the truth or not until it's happened. I can tell you tomorrow I have 80% probability it will rain. Who can prove me wrong? Until tomorrow. It may rain, but that is kind of an anomaly rather than I was accurate, no? So dealing with this, if I tell you prices are like that, you can tell me no. So the way to validate that is showing the process. Which process have you used? How do you validate the process? Every stage. At least that gives you the confidence that what you're following is mathematically correct, goes with your project and your model, and your engineers can understand, can see there. So that is the way to validate a risk analysis or process. Yes?
Sorry, as a second part to the same question then, earlier on in the presentation, you mentioned there were other factors other than price, like the quality of mineral, exploration costs, etc., etc.
Yes.
All of those have a probability distribution associated with them.
Yes.
Can you give us some idea of what sort of probability distributions you would commonly apply or come across?
Yes, and that is the other question, and that is also normally asked when we use a crystal ball or at risk. I mean, main thing when you do crystal ball at risk at the end, and when I mean at the end, it means at the cash flow analysis at the end, when everything has been mixed already, is what distribution you use. Unless we have data, unless we are in a long old mine like Escondido in Chile or here Olympic Dam, you have some data, you can model that. But when we are with a new project, that is more of a cases that we apply this, there is no that data. But we can go into what is, we study the past data, it's the only thing we have, pricing and past data. For geological uncertainty, for example, we have drill holes. And with drill holes, we need always to make an assumption. We cannot escape from assumptions. The point is, how big is your assumption? Very big, using one number, or try to minimize using a range? Still, we're doing assumptions. We try to be more realistic. So, in summary, normally for prices, when I do something, I always use either geometric Brownian or mean reversion, depending if it's precious or base metal. If it's for grades, the simulations, every simulation that is going there is done assuming a log normal distribution, because remember, grades cannot be negative. You use a normal distribution and use a minus 5% copper, that doesn't exist. So you change to a logarithm, you do log normal, and you do the whole process. Again, we are assuming that. But now we have a model. For costs, sometimes are normal, sometimes are triangular capex, when it's a whole capex. For example, in my original initial chart, the whole capex is just one value, $500 million. Sometimes they use a triangular distribution. For recoveries, uniform distributions. So the basic distributions are used, but as long as you can show that someone else has done, or someone has applied and has some acceptance for you, you use it. And we don't have that. And in every point, you can apply distribution because this is price, isn't it? But when we go the cash flow, this cash flow comes from tonnage times grades times recovery times price minus cost. Value. Price uncertainty, the price already is here, with this price or this price. But here you can put grades uncertainty distribution, cost uncertainty distributions, and optimize here and see you can improve this value with this price. Can you see? The price uncertainty is already there. Here, it's for these two values there. It's outside. But now, in each value, you can optimize your process. Using the other variables, you're using costs, you can optimize your cost with that price. With this probability for the price. You can optimize the cost with that price. The trick or the secret is that the prices normally are not linked to the field uncertainties. Prices with grades underground are not correlated. Someone told me, yes, but there's a correlation about cutoff. Yeah, that's different, economics. But whatever is happening underground and whatever is happening in the market will not be interrelated. So I can separate them. Can you see? I can separate. If I can separate, then I can do this type of analysis. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do that because to find that mean is really so complex. But in this case, I can say thank you for that. The prices are separated from that. There are some economic variables in the mind that are linked to the prices, you know, salary sometimes, some costs, some administrations. So these links are trying to put together. And some economists will put something further, you know, after this we put increasing over time, trends, inflations, and all that. But we can start doing a basic analysis and see what benefits do we have comparing with our traditional cash flow. That makes sense? Yes? But yeah, I mean, the way of doing this discounted towards here is the same, just following some patterns here, because what I am showing you is a technique as well, called binomial lattice. The binomial lattice is just telling you the price will go up or down, from here to go up or down, but not from here there. Just two paths. Here, up or down. Okay? So when you discount this with that one, this with that one, and like that, and you come back all to today. We normally try to teach this to miners, we run courses, we run workshops trying to do, for example, this project manually. So everyone has the cash flow, everyone has the Excel, and you can solve this in Excel because it's a small one.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. We might have a short coffee break before you do the demo of the block engine. Thank you very much.
Excellent. No, thank you.